Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Week 1 here at the European LCS Summer Split. The last two teams to make their debut here in summer are setting up on stage as we speak. Fnatic is going up against Giants Gaming. First, let's dial in on Fnatic, who finished third in the Spring Split playoffs and have made one major addition to their roster ever since. Let's take a look in the top lane. Gamsu, Spirit still holding strong in the jungle, then Febiven in the mid lane, Reckless at support, Yellowstar, and their coach Taylor. Well, guys, the return of the captain, obviously a huge storyline coming into Fnatic into the summer split stress. How much can and will he change?
Oh, how much can he change is always the big question, because we've seen so many iterations of Fnatic with Yellowstar as a captain doing so well. How much will he change right now, to me, is a little bit of a different discussion, because he was never known as like a laning phase player. That duo was never known as super, super strong laners. So as for direct impact right now, perhaps it will be fairly shallow, but the growth potential for Fnatic with a shot caller could be a lot better.
I think the main thing we will see for Fnatic is a team where it's not Yellowstar specifically who will be the big impact. It's the fact he makes everyone else much better. Reckless no longer needs to be a shot caller. Febiven doesn't need to maybe communicate as much as he had to do in Spring Split. You can focus more on yourself, and Yellowstar will take care of the main calling.
Yeah, let's take a look at, well, when Reckless and Yellowstar were together as a bottom lane duo, all the prizes they went through, all the great results they had in their career. Obviously, the World Championship semi-final most recently. Summer EULCS champion, Spring EULCS champions, all started in Paris semi-final. That's a long way back, and IM semi-final champions. So, I mean, they have a lot of history between them, and just that level of trust might bring the dynamic back to Fnatic that we have been longing to see from them.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have him back. I think we all missed him when he went over to TSM, and he definitely had some good performances.
He missed us
all the way to the finals in North America, and now that he's coming back, I think that, I mean, we do have to remember that Fnatic had good performance with Clyde at certain points throughout the season. They had up and down, and I just think that Yellowstar returning would just add that consistency that Fnatic has been looking for.
And also, Clyde individually as a player wasn't a big enough factor that you wouldn't take a guy like Yellowstar when he returns, because it is an upgrade no matter what, both if you look at the player skill, honestly, also with the experience from Yellowstar, and as we said before, the fact he brings that extra shot calling. We have to remember it's not one guy doing everything, it's everyone providing information, something Huni Reno was good at. And that's obviously where Fnatic are still weaker compared to Season 5. Gamsu Spirit are not what Huni and Reno was in Season 5. And I don't think Gamsu will ever reach what Huni did, but he's a different kind of player.
Yeah, that's the question, of course. All conjecture to see what will Yellowstar in the end do in terms of shot calling. We'll have to find that out over the next couple of weeks. Let's take a look at their opponents here in their first game in summer, lining up against them on the red side in Game 1. It is Giants with Smitty J in the top lane, Maxlor in the jungle, Knight, Sonstar, Huslin, and their coach Lothar. Obviously, Giants a very, very rough Spring Split, 3-15, and on top of that, Xpepi is now no longer with the lineup, and he was the only remaining member of the kind of original Giants, or the Giants that we've seen for the longest time in the LCS. But what do we think of what they've changed? Vedius, you're very familiar with Maxlor for one.
I've had the pleasure of casting the jungler over the last year. His growth has been exponential, really, playing against me in local competitions all the way now up to the LCS. So
jeez, man, that's a big difference.
Yeah. Maxlor has grown phenomenally as a jungler. He had a bit of a reputation in the UK for camping top lane. The Alfari Maxlor synergy was a big thing that everyone used to know and love. But Maxlor as a player loves to invest in resources that sets him, invest in lanes that he thinks are going to succeed. And now with Knight joining in, I think that that could be a really interesting synergy to watch grow.
The last time we really saw Maxlor, though, was in Inspire Esports in Challenger with a large stint for a team. Solid performance, but I don't think he's one of these people that everybody is talking about, like, this guy is going to hit it right away in the LCS. Still a young player that's growing into his role, so perhaps there is that potential for Giants to kind of mold him into a slightly different player and what they need.
Right, and I think Maxlor is one of the guys we're looking at who needs to step up to make Giants more than a team just fighting for relegations. Knight is the other one. You mentioned him just before, the Korean mid laner joining, who obviously played for Ever8 over in the Korean Challenger scene. Is a very, very gifted player in terms of mechanics. Also, sometimes a little bit odd champion pool here and there. He's like undefeated on Zillion. He's 8-0 in Korean Challenger on that one, which is an odd
Cassiopeia
one. The Cassiopeia play, we've all seen it. But Knight is a player I think can do what Pepe did in terms of individual performance. I just want to see if Knight can be more consistent. And I want to see, once Knight learns more English, how much he can add communication-wise
And I think that maybe even losing Pepe and having to change up their mid lane may be the best thing for Giants right now. Pepe was on a downturn throughout the entirety of the last split and previous splits before that. So maybe a completely reinvigorated lineup means they're not relying on the whole, well, Pepe can carry that we saw from Giants time and time again, because it ended up that he couldn't. So having a completely new lineup.
Yeah, we honestly overused that one towards the end, because it wasn't even that great.
Us overusing something?
Yeah, I know, it's never happened before, right? But definitely, I think Knight is extremely exciting. He's one of the Koreans coming in. We look at it saying there's a lot of potential. Giants also, with this lineup, we know Smitty J up in top lane. He can play carries. He had honestly some decent games, if you look back at last split, and also in the promotion tournament, him and Hoslin showed up. So I think there are some things to work with here for Giants, and I don't think they will be as weak as they were in the spring split. But I don't know if it's enough to climb out of that bottom 4.
I mean, especially they have kind of a hard game to start off with, right? Because they're not going up against someone that they would expect to see in the bottom of the table or a winnable match, but they do have to look at it this way. And if there's one thing that we've learned today, is that the underdogs can come out really strong in games 1.
Oh yeah, we had some games over on EULCS2 with, you know, Rocket and Splice actually showing up big time. Not even just kind of like being a shaky victory, but like actually dominating. So through that, maybe if Giants have a game plan set up where they have a particular pick that comes out in game 1 that's difficult to deal with, something like a Swain that teams aren't really.
No, it's horrible now. It's terrible.
No, I'm still optimistic. I still think
Bad
we can
pick.
take some Cassiopeia.
All right, we'll see. The players are still setting up, so we still got a little more time to talk about this one. Obviously, Fnatic, we look a lot to the bottom lane. What can Yellowstar bring? And it should relieve, as you said, some of the members of the duties that they had to do. Febiven, Reckless came out and said a lot of times that he had to do a lot of the shot calling as a team, but now someone like Febiven can maybe shine a bit harder again, because even though he'd been playing well, he didn't have that destructive impact that we saw last year. Is that fair to say?
I think Fabian had a very good split, but I think all of Fnatic just had to rebuild almost everything.
Yeah.
And it's hard to shine as well if you constantly, as a team, don't really know what to do. There's no confidence in the shot call, and then suddenly your individual performance will also drop for someone like Fabian. But I think in playoffs, he showed up big time. This meta should fit him perfectly. He loves to play Azir. He loves to play Victor. It's kind of the style he's changed into compared to what we saw in the past with like the Z and everything.
But we've seen Assassins working.
Oh, he can still play
as well.
Assassins, of course.
I mean, like we saw the Fizz coming out from Perks earlier, which absolutely rolled over OG in that first game of the day. And I still think that Z can work.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he's still pretty viable. So Febiven, I think, has the pick of the litter in terms of what he can play in the mid right now.
Tons of options. And he needs to beat Knight in this mid lane.
He does. I guess that
No,
when
but
you
like-
look at a key for victory, actually, that is going to be a critical one. It does depend on the actual matchup that we see, because we've seen everything. We've even seen, you know, Assassins not go so well over on EULCS2 as well. So honestly, we've been talking about the versatility of the patch. There are so many different styles that you can play with the right team comp setup. You can actually just play a full engage comp. You can play a poke comp. You can play a siege comp. There's so much versatility that every team should find their path.
Yeah, and I do hear that the players are ready. So it's time to head inside the arena and get into that game.
Well, we're ready to shock. So I'm here, I'm Richard Paul's Cam, he's Mitch Greffel, of course, Pauls. And we are, as you said, just moments away from picks and bans between Fnatic and Giants game. We just have a couple more minutes before we get there, Crepper. But how are you feeling about this one? How are you feeling about being here?
I've just had a pretty much of a League of Legends overload. Been watching both games at once.
Yeah, kind of going cross-eyed.
I felt like I was in the Matrix when it came to League of Legends. But now it's quieted down. There's only one game going on at a time. Fnatic versus Giants. And it's going to be a cool test for me to see where Fnatic is at already.
Yeah.
With not the most opposition. This is kind of their warm-up set for me.
Yeah.
Against Giants. Because Giants are kind of figuring a lot of things out themselves right now. So this could be a good gauge for us to see how far along Fnatic is in kind of the rebuilding process.
Yeah, I think he'll answer a lot of questions, because we've also seen a lot of interesting games and a lot of interesting results throughout the day. Even Schalke, for example, looking really good against the Unicorns. So not counting Giants off the table just yet, but it is a new lineup. As they mentioned on the analyst desk, all of the OG members of that team are now gone.
Yeah, and we just got word. The exact issue on stage right now is Maxwell's mouse is having some difficulties. Obviously, a mouse is very important to play League of Legends, especially if it's your first competitive game. Don't really want to do that keyboard only if you're Maxwell.
Yeah. That's, no, that wouldn't be good, because a lot's on his shoulders as well, as we've seen a lot from him in Challenger and the Challenger scene for the longest time.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. I think Maxwell together with Knight is going to be the axis where Giants need to carry from. Like that is going to be the lane that's going to decide a lot of their games. Because if you look at what's left, Smitty J can snowball if he's given attention, but hasn't really shined that much. And if you look at the bot lane, Sunstar and Hustlin are very much so still in the transition from kind of solo queue-esque gameplay to very team-oriented LCS level gameplay. They may get there because we have no way of judging what their ceiling is, but right now they're not there.
I think so too, and something that Vedis has been talking about, which is very accurate with Maxlore, he identifies like the winning lane, like the carry on the team, and would just camp the heck out of that lane and just do everything he can to get them snowballing. And hey,
It's a bit of a predictable strategy,
It's
though.
predictable and it's like solo queue, right? It's just like find a guy who's going to tilt, camp them. Find a guy who's good on your team, camp them. You know, so we'll have to see how that pans out in game because if it gets kind of competitive and people know what they're doing, Fnatic is just going to light it up around the area, and it's just like, oh, you're mid lane again.
All right, and to make sure that he can't camp that lane, we are now swapping his PC out.
Okay.
Putting a new PC in there just to make sure camping must be done.
Right.
Fnatic will suffer the wrath of Maxlor's. That's a man. Right there, that's the
crush
face.
some dreams.
That's the face of a man who's ready to camp the heck out of Fnatic's top lane.
Well, currently has no computers, so gonna find it difficult to do that for now, but it should just be a couple more minutes before we get that one sorted.
Yeah, and I've played a couple of games with him, not too many, but he seems to be like a really good communicator overall. Sadly, we don't really know if that will be put to full effect because Giants have obviously some language issues. Introducing two Korean players is something we've seen before, but if you look at the combination, it is obviously AD carry and mid laner, and that feels like a very really weird combination to have as,
There's not a lot
the
of
Koreans.
synergy,
Yeah,
yeah?
no synergy there. They can't really build anything up together. If you have like a support and top lane Korean, then at least they can set up like the teleports together, or they can kind of work with each other. They will be very isolated from the team, these roles. Yes, they won't have the most input, so they can follow, but they'll. I wonder if mid lane will be very isolated because Maxwell can't communicate ganks very well, especially when you go up against a player of the caliber of Febiven, who's usually good at sniffing these ganks when it comes to like solo queue.
Yep.
Somebody just starts walking up randomly. Well, guess what? I'm getting ganked right now. I wonder if they can actually get kills on him. And then, yeah, obviously, maybe Maxwell is going to say, well, I can't really gank bot, can't gank mid, gonna camp top all the time.
Yeah.
That gets predictable.
Exactly, and if the communication is bad in in the mid lane, even throughout the gank, then they might just get like 2-0'd, like versus Febiven. Like a lot can go wrong. So hope the team has gotten really good at smart pings because that might be how they have to solve this one.
The
just
good
like
old,
Starhorn
the good old
did.
China strategy.
The
The
Starhorn
first,
strat.
the first mixed roster that came
Yep,
out.
I'm on the way. Help.
Yep.
On the way.
Other way. No.
Danger.
What you do is when they die,
Yep.
you backping their corpse.
Well,
That's what I've learned from. That's what I've learned from solo queue. Every time I die, people start backpinging my corpse in a,
Does it
in a
help?
weird way. I think it's their way of like attempting resuscitation. It doesn't really help.
I see. All right. Well, yeah, I know that wouldn't help my gameplay, but
There's
yeah.
nothing that can help your gameplay. Pulse. I've seen it.
I can't even fire shots back because it's so true. But just again, looking at this lineup, there's a lot of questions. You know, not only just the communication, but also like within the own lanes. Because I think you hit the nail on the head. It's so difficult when your ADC is the guy who's the Korean on the team because there's not a lot of synergy outside of him and the support. Like you compare him and anyone else, and it's not going to be super good for the team. So I have to see how that one works out. On the other side, you can see Fnatic are just lounging right now. They're just chilling out.
Thinks he's back in Turkey. That's where he went on a holiday.
Aye.
I can tell the tan. He's just getting that lawn chair moment back in there. Just extending the start of the European LCS by a couple minutes here as we wait for that PC to be swapped out.
Yeah, you can see Gamsu there. He's gearing up. He's taking a more tactical approach, I feel, than the other players. Where they've been lounging, he's thinking about how he's going to crush top lane.
Yeah, eyes
Spirit
closed
well.
though. Really important. Give him some rest. You know, maximize that open eye time.
That's true. Spirit communicating there with Febiven, getting that synergy going. Seems to be a one-way conversation right now with Spirit. Like, this is what I'm going to do, and you're going to like it. And Febiven's like, okay, that's fine. We didn't get to see the bot lane. Oh, we did first off. But finally reunited after a split.
Yeah, Bora and Yellowstar. There's a lot of opinions out there, ranging from Yellowstar is the savior for Fnatic and he's going to make everything great again. Kind of the Trump of Fnatic. I'm seeing the bad side of the Trump here because they still had some issues. There's obviously a reason that they kind of split ways. And Fnatic bot lane was never really known to be a lane-dominant lane, in my opinion. They were really good at going even, slightly behind, and then their strength was kind of the top lane, the top triangle, so top jungle and mid, that put a lot of pressure on the map. And then, of course, you can play with kind of a low econ bot lane and shine in teamfights or through shot calling. Right now, Gamsu was stepping up, but overall, the impact of the Huni reign over Feven triangle was larger than what Gamsu's Spirit Feven managed to procure.
Yeah, which was surprising me because the whole thing was just like Spirit Gamsu, this mad synergy, and even in week 1 from the last split, Gamsu just went ham on the Olaf, and it was just like we had really high hopes, and then throughout the split, it kind of petered off a little bit. But that's kind of been the bot lane in general, as you were just talking about. Reckless as an ADC is not the go hard, get like a ton of kills, apart from this highlights clips that you see.
I feel he
That's
can.
similar.
I feel
think he can, but has he in the last split?
Yeah, obviously, to do that, you need to be propelled forward in lane by having an aggressive laning partner too. Reckless with Yellowstar, with Clyde, even with Noxiac, it doesn't really seem that they were opting for the forward style. At this point, though, after so many supports, you have to start questioning, can he actually play lane
maybe.
dominant? Does he need to is also another question.
Yeah, I would argue that Clyde was more forward, but he was forward by himself, and then would go in.
I mean, Clyde had just the marks of a support that was still learning and progressing.
We're still saying that right now in Challenger as well.
Definitely, and Fnatic just doesn't have the time as an organization with the goals they have in mind, with the things they have to live up to. If you look at the history of this organization.
First split in a long time that they didn't get first place, going over to G2 in that split. But we are into Champion Select.
Or that could just be a tease. They could just line those cameras up and be like, nope.
Oh, it's us again. No, it is actually Champion Select, and we have these bans coming out, seeing a lot of interesting new champions and champion bans come out into the meta. So first ban will be Lucian coming out from Fnatic. No real surprise right now. Taking that away from Sunstar. We've seen that a lot as a first pick, first rotation. Rise will be fired back from Giants.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to be an analyst when it comes to the early stages of ban phase. Lucian, you can expect to go out. Rise, you can expect to go out. And then you can start talking about top lane. Maybe to leave Maokai open. So far, we've actually seen a lot of priority on Echo still over Maokai. Teams have been locking in early Caitlyn's too. Because when Lucian's out of the fold, Caitlyn just lanes well into anything that's kind of left. And traps it is fantastic.
Interesting to talk about the Echo. It's terribly in CSQ, but it's still being picked up around the world and still doing fine. Nidalee is going to be picked up by a Giants here, or rather taken away from Fnatic and looking towards their final ban here. So we're going to hit the mid lane once again, seeing a lot of Azir bans recently. Victor, again, one of the big mid laners coming back into the fold.
Yeah, Azir has gone through a lot of champs like today, though. A lot of people seem to really not pick him up. This Vladimir pick is something interesting, though. From talking to mid laners, they were telling me when Ryze and Azir are off the table, Vladimir goes up a lot in market worth. A little bit of a niche pick here. Fnatic said, you know, we don't want to deal with that really. We'll go for the more traditional, predictable picks. You could definitely see Febiven on a relatively early Victor, for example. Just play the wave clear, play the even matchup, and hope that Knight can't really outclass him there. Looking at an early Kindred pick here, though, on the side of Fnatic, and that's exactly why Giants end up banning it out.
So what are Fnatic going to prioritize? It's going to be the Braum, and that's a very fast lock-in. Very interesting, because I was talking to Spraddle earlier, and it's just like a lot of teams picking these late supports now of how much it revolves around that role.
They do, and I don't think it's quite necessary to pick the Braum up early. Maybe it's just Fnatic saying, well, Hustle, and we think you can only play Braum really well, and the rest is significantly worse. We also have to question how good is Yellowstar's Bard, because in terms of support tier list, it is Bard up there on tier 1. Braum is up there on tier 1. Alistar took a significant hit, both like the way the meta's been shifting and just the ulti nerf here. But it's definitely easy for Giants right now to pick up maybe like a Bard later or Caitlyn early, and they can definitely deal with it.
Maybe. Let's see what those first two picks are going to be. Hovering over the Trundle right now, that will be locked in with the Caitlyn. Trundle has also seen a lot of first rotation pickups, especially on the blue side if it is still open. We've seen a lot of Lucian and Trundles as those first picks.
Yeah. Trundle just has a really strong laning phase, and because QSS only gets rid of CC and no longer gets rid of Trundle ulti, he becomes even stronger in that 1v1 duel, so you can almost guarantee that Trundle will win any matchup in a split push. Even beats Echo pretty handily early, as there's ganking involved. Spirit opting for the Lee Sin, because right now it's Kindred Nidalee tier 1 in the jungle, and then anything is open game. Graves has fallen off tremendously hard, so people are going for the Lee Sin. Even Rek'Sai over in the LPL a lot. Maybe some Elise here as reaction later on from Giants.
Yeah, actually, funnily enough, we saw a lot of priority on Elise as soon as the patch came out. That's what people were gravitating towards, but I like the Lee Sin being picked up here from Fnatic. Back when last split, they kind of had a formula that worked for every single game that they went for. Lee Sin was part of that formula, so nice to see Spirit go back there and try and make some plays in the early game. Echo as well into that top lane, most likely going against Trundle. Can be flexed, of course, to support. Austin might be picking that one up. but is pretty much a Smitty J or Hustling champion, honestly.
Yeah, and this is where the compositions are really taking form. Look at what Giants have procured. Looking to play a 4-1 composition. Trundle on the side lane, the remaining members in the mid lane, and they have a full-on siege composition right now. Group Azir and Caitlyn up, get the traps out, make a pick on the tower with the cocoon. But Fnatic reacted and said, well, we were already building a bit of a flying skirmish comp with Lee Sin and Echo. Guess what? We're going all out on that. Kalista LeBlanc. Fnatic are here to skirmish, to fight. Not really team fight, but just fight you at every single flank and see if you can split you up. Because while they're grouped, and if they can keep everybody in front of them, Giants actually have the better lineup when it comes to like a siege. But they're so weak because anybody can jump them from the side. Look at Lee Sin take Echo flank.
Might be seeing some faster gameplay coming in from Fnatic here with some very early mid-game picks, looking for those skirmishes, looking for those fights very early on into this game. Giants now with their very final pick. What are we looking towards here? It will be either a top laner or a support. The Nautilus locked in.
It's a Nautilus support. He plays it a lot. It's a hustling kind of signature champion. Not the biggest fan of Nautilus support. It does okay into Braum, however. That lane matchup is definitely playable, and it's actually an advantageous matchup in my opinion. So we could expect Fnatic to go for the swap here, open up the map, and then see if they can make these pick champions to use. Because if you look at the raw defensive capabilities of this lineup, barely any way from them.
Very true, but a lot of offensive power early on into the game for Fnatic. It'll be interesting to see how Giants operate here. Of course, Sunstar and Knight being the Koreans, and Maxlor coming into this lineup now with this full composition. Looking obviously later towards the game, because once they have a fully itemed Azir and Caitlyn, they're going to hit like a truck. But if you reach late game against Fnatic's comp, you're probably winning it.
Yeah, it's definitely looking at Spirit here. He needs to get those ganks and avoid being counter-ganked. If there's a good counter-gank from Maxlor to Spirit, Fnatic may actually be in a lot of trouble.
You see the coaches Dalo and Lotark shaking hands and heading off the Rift for game 1 of this best of 2 series here. Should be a very exciting one to close out the day and close out day 1 of this week. Should be very interesting. But remember to tweet at LOL Esports using those hashtags FNC win or GIA win to show your support on Twitter. We'll be checking with you guys later on as well into the game. But you can see the full lineups there on your screen.
You say we're not technically
part of it.
Somebody
Yeah,
will be
that's
checking
true.
in for us.
Yeah. I say we as an entire team, you know. It's
We, the broadcast
team
team.
spirit, exactly. We're about to get into game, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Fnatic up against Giants in our final game of the day. Let's get on to the Rift and see who will be coming out on top.
Yeah, let's see if we get any creative level ones. We've seen a few today. Always really interesting for me. Teams that punish the generic fanning out. Especially with Braum, you can really catch people off guard. Cheeky little Braum Q here.
Yeah, even on those solo man invades can do a lot of damage with Winter's Bike because of blows, of course. Okay, Smitty J is hanging up there on the top there.
Here we go.
Flash forwards, a lot of aggression coming out from Fnatic. Looking for this kill to Maxwell, can the blows land. Fevrin comes in, first blood to Reckless.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Flash exhaust, slows him down, gets the tag. At that point, you're a sitting duck. Maxwell cannot get out because he's obviously slowed off through the flash. Follow up from Fnatic, and this ties into their strategy, and Giants should expect this. When you know these lineups, you know that Fnatic will likely want to swap. Well, how do you guarantee a swap? Well, you go for deep wards, deep vision. Maxlor, he felt he was safe, but on the LCS stage, you run into what you call in solo queue pure cheese.
Yeah.
But sadly, here is strategy.
He should have adapted to the cheese, but his strategy here, he'll be learning that one and learn it the hard way coming into this first game here on the LCS stage. 1:30 into this game. Smitty J, he kind of went back to the tower, did not want any of that invade coming in from Fnatic there. And we can see this mid lane now. Knight and Feathervin coming out here in this mid lane. There's a ward up there, just caught Reckless and Yellowstar heading into the top lane there. And Hustlin and Sunstar going to the bot side.
You have a lane swap. Something that pleases every single League of Legends fan out there because they're very much so fascinating.
They're a
And
little bit different now, though, Gref.
Not
A
always
little
the
bit
same.
faster.
Well, phase 2 can be a little bit more interesting
Yeah.
if the bot lanes like end up swapping into each other again. Obviously, Dragon is a lot higher priority. It used to be whoever ended up on the top side was happy because they got Rift Herald. Skip the Dragon, then go for a stronger push. But right now, it's definitely worth looking for Dragons.
For sure. Depends on what the first dragon is as well, because we've seen less priority on the Cloud Dragons, which...
It's totally not Cloud's game, guys. Not at all. Oh, it's Cloud.
Yeah, we'll see if we can do the Deficio and get the triple Clouds in a row. But of course, this is the first part of the lane swap. Didn't change much. Just going to see this trade 1-for-1 towers.
Cloud Dragon is actually the one, or Cloud Drake right now, your baby dragons. It's the one where you thank the enemy team for taking it. You're like, thank you for getting the reset. We'll just take the next one.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we keep farming, getting ourselves strong.
Tell us when you take it, and we'll just check down there, see what the next one is. With Cloud, feel free to take that next one as well. But because it is out of combat movement speed, not a lot of priority on that dragon. Take it if you can, but not a lot of people going for that one as a priority. Maxlor has taken away this this red buff on the strong side, of course. Fnatic doing the same on their side.
Slightly better lane swap combination here for Giants because they have more AoE on the creeps. So you tank the creeps, you stand there with your support, he AoEs, your AD carry AoEs, you tank them so that your creeps can hit the tower. That's the generic gist of it. Giants composition does that a tiny bit better. Fnatic actually failed the bounce here. This is big. They pushed onwards. Let's see if Hustlin, if SmittyJ teleports here immediately, he could pick up a little bit of extra farm. This is why the bounce is kind of important to be done correctly, but it isn't really punished. Giants didn't spot it. Fnatic managed to push into the next tower and ironically come out ahead.
Yeah, and we see the first back coming in for these ADCs. Will be just a dagger picked up by Sunstar, but 3 daggers picked up by Reckless. Kind of doing the same thing as like Lucian's and those type of champions where they just pick up a bunch of longswords, and then what I like to call the 2048 build, where you just build a lot of longswords and they all turn into items. So Reckless, go for this one, of course. Kalista builds a lot of items with attack speed early on to the game. Hurricane, Blade Ruin King.
Yeah, you can no longer go for the Swifty Rush, where Kalistas used to build out to be quicker in the lane swap, because there's always the possibility that you end up laning against the enemy bot lane quite sooner.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you're not going to want movement speed.
No, not so helpful. Gonna see top lane here. Smitty going back into the top lane. And Maxlor just in the jungle as well. Giants coming in here, just pushing down this tower. And we're going to see both of them swapping up. So sometimes there's going to be changes to phase 2 of the lane swap. This time around, just going to swap back and forth and find 2-2 towers. Mid lane, there's going to be a bit of interaction. Fevin gets a bit of damage down onto Knight.
Yeah, a big part there was that Knight got the shield off, at least, from the dash. If he hits, obviously you get the shield, and then it's a slightly easier trade, so Fevin couldn't really win that hard. Ignite versus teleport, versus heal too, so no double teleport here either. Azir obviously never runs it. We've seen teleport LeBlancs, but not the biggest fan. I like the Ignite. We need kills. Yeah. Fnatic, let's not forget, they're running a big composition, and they need to get those kills.
Exactly. So once the map opens up, now that these towers have gone down, maybe we'll see Fnatic go from lane to lane, try and get these picks, try and get these skirmishes, which the composition is really built around. But the first tower goes down, a bit of momentum rather, over to Fnatic. Knight still pushing in the mid lane, kind of going even in terms of health and mana up against Fevin with this LeBlanc. Both have gone back. Negatron picked up by Knight, and double Doran's by Fevin.
Alright, now we need to gauge who goes where. So they're giving more time to Gamsu to soak up that wave. So Reckless is kind of taking the team player role here. He's going to go and challenge SmittyJ and hopefully get him off that wave, while they're giving maximum time to Gamsu to pick up more farm here. Because if Fnatic would have said, Gamsu, you go top now, he would have just missed out on too much experience, too much CS. The advantage would be given to Reckless, who will likely reswap later on. Unless Gamsu is going to stick around. Because in past scenarios, we've seen actually supports path to the bottom lane. So Fnatic seem to be very interested in swapping around entirely. So we're getting the ultra lane swap.
Yeah, we said it changed. Apparently we're lying to you right now. But
that's what we do.
That's true. That's what we do here on the Pulse and Preppercast. We lie to you constantly. But mid lane is usually the point where not a lot happens. Sometimes when you have LeBlanc and Azir, a little bit more happens. Sometimes there's action when they hit level 6, but often see a lot of these farm mid lane, especially with Victor coming back, Vladimir, of course.
I mean, this guy right here, see if we can make something happen. Here he goes.
Spirit coming in, kick flash right into Fevin. We'll be following with the Sigil Malice and the combo. Easy kill, simple as that. Top lane getting engaged upon as well. Yellowstar and Reckless, we want the aggression, and they're bringing it to Smitty.
Yeah, they bring the aggression. They're just force SmittyJ to get off the wave, deny him experience. That's their goal. But the first blood ganked there from Spirit, and Knight just, he was trying to figure out what was going on, and then he was dead already. So in an ideal world, he flashes out there immediately, but obviously, yeah, really well executed gank from Spirit there, leaves no room to react, or barely any room to react for Knight.
At that point, he did figure out what happened. He was dead. 2-0 in this game. Bot tower goes down to Giants, meanwhile, as they had that push going down there with all the members committed to that push. Spirit, meanwhile, will go into the opposing jungle, take away this blue buff. Might be a little close as Huston and Maxlor on the way up. Might have to ward jump over the wall. He's got it. He's out. And Huston's going to path and see if he can find him with a hug, especially with Knight coming in. Emperor's Divide doesn't quite catch him. He's over the wall, but he's not safe. Maxwell coming in and looking for this venomous bite, but it's going to be the soldier that finishes them off, going a little too deep.
Yeah, a little bit too deep here. Giants equalizing. They're still over 1,000 gold behind here, very early in the game, so they need more of this. They need to find Spirit when he's setting up for these ganks. They can operate under a gold deficit if they can keep it even, because their composition outscales and has stronger spikes put together in the mid game, especially if they can start sieging. They can like limited wave clear here. If Giants are allowed to group up Azir, Caitlyn together, put some traps down, whack away at those towers.
Oh, Sunstar caught all by himself with the flank coming in with the Fate's Core. He's going to be flashing away, but it is useless as Reckless will follow him down. Landed a bit of damage in return, but an easy kill to Fnatic.
Yeah, and if you see the behavior of that wave, it seems like it was pushing into Sunstar. So it's very greedy for him to move up and already start farming it right there. Needs to be careful. Reckless and Yellowstar have been doing a lot of work here, top side of the map. Yellowstar not afraid to flash in aggressively and go for that exhaust post Braum passive either.
Yep.
Done it to SmittyJ, done it to Maxwell at the start of the game, so we're already seeing a good bit of synergy here.
I like to see it playing a little bit faster. Meanwhile, mid lane still trading blows. Now 1-on-1, both of them picking up 2 kills, or a kill apiece rather. Fevin's going to be jumping in here, only a bit of poke, but Hustlin shows his face, so doesn't want to go any deeper. No one cares about poor Cloud Dragon, unfortunately. We call them dragons or drakes? You said they were mini
Well,
dragons?
they're actually called drakes now, so there's been this dire debate whether when Europe was calling Dragon Drake, and the Americans hated it.
Yeah.
Apparently, whoever made them called them drakes.
Well.
Now we have to call them drakes.
Yep, wrecked.
It is Infernal Dragon, however.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not it's the big dragon.
Elder Dragon?
Elder Dragon, but it's Infernal
But the
Drake,
drakes.
Cloud Drake.
All right. Definition, got it. Maxwell on his way down. He's going to pass by the Drake. And Gamsu is going to have to be fast on the trigger finger.
I mean, right here, Maxwell could have committed for that gank. Knocked it out, so the lack of vision definitely hurting them. Fnatic, not too afraid of lack of vision. Very eager to set up. We have Giants collapsing though. They seem very afraid to kind of pull the trigger. Obviously, right now,
he's found LeBlanc, and Fevin's definitely found him. He's going to get chained down, jump over the wall. Empress Divide knocks him all the way back over, and then he flashes as he sees Yellowstar coming in. What a bizarre sequence of plays.
yeah, Fevin out of nowhere for Knight. He's having a rough time here. Definitely really happy he picked up that early magic resistance.
Yeah, very happy, otherwise he would have been a dead man. And with Reckless and Fevin pushing in the mid lane, get a bit of damage down there. Still no one going for the dragon, but Yellowstar and Spirit coming into this bot lane.
Yeah, and the lack of teleport on SmittyJ is really suffering, is making Giants suffer, because they're so afraid to make any moves, because they know they're 4v5 on the map, and because the lane was pushing all the way to SmittyJ, Fnatic used that time to kind of cross-map, get advantage in the mid lane, around Dragon Pit, in the bottom lane, and SmittyJ is stacking up that wave so beautifully, nice and big, juicy wave that likely Gamsu is now going to say thank you very much for, and Fnatic complete control of the game.
Yeah, 2-0-0 on Reckless. Another kill in the mid lane to Febiven, 3-1 total on the board currently. Fnatic have this 3,000 gold advantage. Just 11 minutes into the game is big for them. And just taking Crab, taking the Vision, taking the towers.
Yeah, and it shows you what a couple of picks can do, how much you can hurt like your economy, because suddenly you're playing the map 4v5, which means you can't push out on bottom because you're scared you can get collapsed on. If you generally get collapsed on, you can get something at the other side of the map. Obviously, that guy just died. Like, the death of Sunstar really hit Giants, because that's what started it all. Sunstar gets picked off. SmittyJ has to take over that wave duty. His teleport is down. And then suddenly Giants have to play passive. They can't make any reactionary moves, and then Knight gets suddenly picked out. He has to base. Fnatic, they just take river control, mid control, and they're playing to the strength of their composition.
Exactly. Of course, Giants will want to try and get later on into this game. Try and activate the Azir, activate the Caitlyn. And Hustlin just clearing out this pink ward real quick, trying to get some dragon control, or Drake control, excuse me. Spirit going into his jungle there.
Nobody's going to shoot you if you say a dragon control.
There'll be someone on Twitter. already typing out the tweet and heard me. I was like, damn,
I can't believe
backspace.
Pulse is calling them dragons.
Unreal. Oh, Fnatic heading into this bot lane. Might see a 3 versus 3. Spirits in the
here we
bush,
go.
Fate's call, it's definitely starting up. Hustlin is going to turn around and actually look for the potential engage, with teleport coming down from both teams. Sunstar's going to return some damage, has been exhausted. Yellowstar's going to drop, Reckless close to follow. Spirit trying to put some damage on towards the rest of the Giants lineup, but honestly, Gamsu's a bit too late.
Yeah, and that was mid-season TSM Yellow Star right there. The Fate Scout gets used. They're looking for a play. They could easily say, you know what? I don't think this is going to work. And they go for it anyways. He overextends in front of his team, realizes he's dying. This time, Giants have teleport, and we can see the difference between Giants being able to play with teleport and without, and rightfully so. And Fnatic kind of lose all the momentum.
Yeah, a bit of a mismatch there, but Giants making the right call. Hustlin knew exactly what to do, even though he missed the hug. Knight pushing down the mid lane still. Now pushing into Fevin, with Hustlin coming into the mid lane along with Maxwell. Maybe they can get some damage done onto this mid lane turret. Spirit also looking to back up Fevin, but I'm not sure there's a lot they can do.
Hustle's got to be careful though, because he's paper right now. He looks like a big mean tank, but always got his Sightstone Mobies, and Nautilus is deceptively squishy as a support. That's why many people, don't play him.
Well, we're going to see that once more. The Fate's call actually starts it all off.
Yeah, look here. Hustle's trying to play catch in the middle of the air on Yellowstar, but the teleport, it seems like Fnatic's not ready for it. The Spirit's looking for the flank, Yellowstar's going in, so this is all in open vision. And then the pretty predictable teleport comes out from Giants, and Fnatic's like, oh wait, you can't do this. Back off. So a little bit of an issue in planning right there. Obviously they have room for error. 3,000 gold in the lead allows you to look for those moves. If that sticks, by the way, the game's pretty much over. So
Yeah.
the setup is definitely worth making for Fnatic, but they could have opted out.
Very, very true. Sunstar has immediately gone for the Hurricane build, has not picked up the BF sword first, so right into that one, looking to charge up those headshots real fast on those minions. Come on, Hustlin, all he wants is a stack. There you go. It's like he was charging up, the animation started, and Sunstar just took away the minion.
Knight's ulti down.
Used his ult. It was on Fevman, I believe, who just jumped right out of it, didn't even get scratched by the soldiers.
Yeah, this is Fnatic's ballpark right here, just going for the little skirmishes, one-on-one. Gamsu usually would lose this skirmish. He is slightly ahead of Smitty Jada, but even then, once Smitty J pops the ulti, that's Gamsu's cue to say goodbye. Fnatic aggressively moving the jungle to then take what is rightfully theirs.
Cloud Dragon, 15 minutes into the game.
It's actually caught, so it's deceptively, the announcer still says Dragon. They're actually called Cloud Drake. I think we need to go deeper on this.
Yeah, we do. Get out there, detectives.
Or not.
Or there'll be people interested, but Sunstar, he's pushing up. Last time he was pushing this far out, something went wrong.
Ooh.
Oh, Maxlow, nice ward over.
Yeah, he's trying to use his sweeper to check at the edge of the sweeper if somebody's in the brush. Right now, obviously, they reveal all people hiding in there. But Fnatic did the right thing, moving to the edge themselves. It does seem that Maxlor is very afraid to pull the trigger on some of these ganks. Sometimes rightfully so, but it is so different from playing on the solo queue stage, playing solo queue at home, to moving to the stage. You suddenly start respecting Fog of War a lot more.
And I don't think the game necessarily, well, I'm going to hold that for a second. This Knight is getting slowed down, snared down, but starting off the game for Maxlow was not a great start, honestly, and I think that does something to your mentality. It's like, man, I'm going to come into this game, I'm going to camp Knight, I'm going to destroy Fevin. Oh, I just died for first blood.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to just stick in my jungle and take some of these camps real quick.
Yeah, it's a harsh lesson to learn. The good old level 1 first blood. It ruins all your plans too, because you have such a great idea. It's like, yeah, okay, this camp should take me this long, this matchup, he will be here. This gives you a really good gank opportunity, and suddenly it all goes out the window. Because you're playing a lane swap 2 on your very first LCS stage game. Now Maxwell moving to Fevin, finds Fevin. Fevin was not paying attention.
Good CC chain, good ultimate, and there was nothing that Fevin could do once that cocoon landed.
Yeah, but he could have done a lot of things, which is watch his screen and flash out.
Well, that
didn't do that
would have helped, but the rest of the team is coming in for this engage. Zitro goes up, but Hustling goes down. Knight trying to put damage back onto Yellowstar. The soldiers are going ham, but not enough to take him out.
Yeah, Giants, they bought into the play a little bit too much that they forgot to look who's in the bottom lane. Sunstar was pushing out that wave. So again, Giants, they see one kill, they think they can win it all, and then they go a little bit too far. This is a failed pickoff attempt here on Smitty J. Watch where Fevin's pathing. So Fevin's screen right now is on Smitty J, by the way. Just as he comes around the corner, Maxwell is here. Reacts instantly with Cocoon. Good reaction from Hustling too here. Doesn't get his hook stuck on the wall. At this point, If Giants yield, they make the right decision. The Sunstar was all the way in the bottom.
Oh man, Febiven, the ultimate wasn't even needed there from Knight. It was just trying to clear out the minion wave, but had to respect the CC and damage.
Yeah, Cocoon and Dragoline here, and this is what we were talking about in Champs League Pulse. Once they group, they have so much pick potential because they narrow your pathing because you have to dodge your traps, which means you're in predictable locations, and then it's quite easy for Cocoons to hit, for Dredgelines to hit, and if you respect the zone of all these abilities, well then you have to yield your tower, and that's the power of this like 4-1 siege composition here from Giants.
Activating a lot earlier into this game, 18 minutes into this one. Let's take a look at Febiven just face planting right into a Cocoon.
I mean, that's disrespectful. If you dash in once, you have to know that your opponent's going to realize, hey, this LeBlanc dashed in once. Guess what you're going to do again? Dash in twice to get the creeps.
Yeah.
Well, send a Cocoon towards your creep wave, and you will catch her.
It's not even like a big investment. Maybe he just jumps back. Maybe he just doesn't do anything. Maybe I'll just shoot at Cocoon and see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a free kill.
For the grand price of one Cocoon,
Yeah.
you can get a tower. That's a trade I'd make.
But wait, there's more. Giants are closing this gold gap significantly on Fnatic. You see 3,000 gold is now just over 1,500. And Fnatic, yes, they have a dragon to their name, but it's a Cloud Dragon. So, not feeling super good about that one. And despite all the vision definitely being in Giants' jungle, they're now looking to reclaim it. Good old Fnatic Death Brush.
It's really dangerous for hustling here, because obviously I support with no way to check that brush. Still, Fnatic are running a pick comp.
Yeah, they're starting off with red. Max Law goes under the Cocoon, connects onto Yellow Star. No real follow-up this time. So get away with that red buff for now. Yeah. Giants are definitely reclaiming that part of the jungle, so Fnatic needs to be a little careful of where they step now.
But Giants can play this slow. They don't need to angle for everything here. Max Law, good Cocoon and Yellow Star. Fate Skull's available. Yep. So he gets pulled out. Max Law can close the gap on Reckless still.
Still chasing. And the Q doesn't quite land onto Elise. Spiling's blocked it.
And if you look at what Smitty J can do for Giants right now, he's the man that will actually get them back in the game here. Talk about it later though. They're going in on Yellow Star again.
Hustlin's walking in. He's still very squishy. Returns from Yellow Star, and that's an easy rend. Sunstar actually just kind of walks up and throws a few shots off and realizes he don't want to be there anymore. Gamsu kill onto Sunstar, and now Fnatic all closing in onto Maxlaw, finding their third kill. And that was just, I don't even know what that was.
Well, that was a face check from Giants. They were asking Fnatic a question, are you still here? It was a resounding yes. And right now, Giants are going to get maybe one kill, but they're going down.
Giants are still here, gonna have to jump back, use the chrono break. Febiven over the wall this time around, not gonna be punished. Knight and Smitty being herded away from their side of the map. We're starting to get respawns, but they are too far away to help. Smitty is trying to duel off Gamsu, but meanwhile, Febiven will slay Knight. And Reckless coming in. Smitty will also fall for what was essentially the unofficial ace.
Yeah, and that's just a major mistake and a fantastic punish here from Fnatic. Dodging most of the damage that they could. Clean ace here. Giants thought if we wait 5 seconds, they'll disappear. If we close our eyes, they might not be there anymore. Well, they were. They didn't wait for Smitty J to just isolate Gamsu and take him on 1v1 with that Ravenous build. Almost impossible for Gamsu to really deal with that. Instead, they go for the face check here without Sunstar being there. And that's something we talked about in terms of communication. If you go for the face check here, you need to teleport earlier and you need Sunstar to be here in time. Look, Sunstar hasn't even auto-attacked once. He's going to land his first auto-attack right now. He walks there, places down a trap, realizes he probably shouldn't be there, turns around, auto-attacks once before his inevitable demise, and then Smitty J and Knight try to fight their way out again. Pure solo queue mentality as well. No disengaging Giants.
Yeah, I love how Fnatic just blocked them off there as well. It's like, you are not going back towards your base, got herded right into the mid lane, and then from there was nothing really they could do. And Smitty J and Knight just got finished up. But got to praise Yellowstar as well. Fantastic exhaust, fantastic ultimate, locking up 2 people.
Guess what, Pulse?
What's that, Crepo?
In our picture-in-picture, we just saw another... What's called a participation prize, another Cloud Dragon. It's like when people tell you that participating is equally important as winning. That's what you do when you kill a Cloud Dragon.
It's the journey, of course.
Drake. It's the journey, not the destination.
Wow.
Destination being a new dragon that's hopefully better.
Exactly. Though I believe the next one is another Cloud Dragon. I'm just going to check real quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, destination not looking too hot. Gamsu going to be in the top lane here. Look how fast he's moving with the extra 30 movement speed. Yellowstar is going to jump back to Reckless. Fate's Call once again saving his behind. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Smitty J trading off with Echo. Gamsu wants to use his ultimate very early on, but he's just buying time. Fevin's coming in here, and he's being kept in the top lane while the rest of Fnatic come in to finish off, dancing around the troll. There's not much you can do at this stage. Over the wall, back over the wall. Fevin picks up the kill.
Yeah, straight flashes to the wall from Smitty J. We see the strength in the 1v1 duel. Nobody can deal with this Trundle. That's why he's such a staple pick with an incredibly high win rate over in the LPL2 and LCK. But if he falls behind, or the team has no map control, or the team can't do anything when he gets ganged up upon, then obviously there's not much Smitty J can do.
Whoop.
Hey!
Got him. No real follow-up there, unfortunately, but stop the home guards at least. Yellowstar and Reckless pushing up the mid lane. Down to half health already.
Is he face checking? Okay.
Ooh, Spirit. He's waiting. Oh, it looks so good. Now it looks so bad. Sunstar's gonna bite the dust. Just walk away, man. Goes down to Spirit in the bush.
This is one of those examples where my team would backping my corpse.
Ah, yeah.
Like, you shouldn't go there, and then I learn, obviously.
I see. Yep. And then, of course, Sunstar will put the assist please thing down on the same area. Where was the team, honestly, in that situation? No vision was put down by Giants, but Fnatic going to be very happy with that pickoff, which also translates into a tower, and the gold advantage is now opening back up again. 7,000 gold.
At this point, we may realize or learn what open means in Korea.
Yep.
Open mid boys. No, it's a rough point for now for Giants. Their composition relies entirely around grouping, but it's similar to what we saw in some of the earlier games today. Origin versus G2. If you run a group siege comp and you get split pushed on, you're kind of gonna lose. This is not the exact same scenario because Giants still win a split push. It's just if you get hit in the setup and you can't even execute because of the danger of flanks and just hard engages like right here. Can Lumen feather that? I mean, look at Reckless, he's just going in.
Reckless, he's going in very deep, but he does have the cavalry arriving. That's going to be the shutdown onto Reckless. Goes a little bit too deep there. Fevin and Yellowstar trying to duel with Smitty, but there's not much they can do by themselves. Spirit's getting turned out by Sunstar, looking for a last order attack over the wall. Not going to happen. Gamsu is going to find his prey for a first kill, second kill, and looking for that triple onto Hustle, looking mighty fine right now. There's the third kill, and the triple out for Gamsu.
Yeah, poorly engaged fight by Fnatic. Overrush, not on the same page, but even then they still come out ahead because they're playing with such a large gold lead, and they know that. That's why they're opting in for some of these, peculiar engages. Reckless is kind of spearheading the front. It's like, I'm going in, guys. Follow me or I die.
But he was bait. And hook, line, and sinker. Giants all closing around him. All get picked off throughout that fight. Fnatic take down the Baron, and let's see the start of that one again. Reckless goes real deep.
Yeah. All-Star misses out. He goes into Knight here. Corner. Fevin can't actually walk. Like, Fevin dashes in here, but he can't get in front of Reckless to take the Caitlyn ulti either. He goes down. Sunstar is dealing a lot of damage here too, but he's just too little too late. Spear managed to get out. At this point, Cleanup crew comes in. Follow on your screen. Fevin enters the fray. It's too much damage with this pickup. If a pickup bleeds, they can really take crazy team fights. If they run into one big tank though, when they're behind, obviously they falter entirely. Fnatic knew the risk coming in, and they executed well.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate for Giants though, because when they started grouping, it started going well for them. We're going to make a play in the mid lane. Great Emperor's Divide. Kill into Reckless to open this one up. Spirit's going to be trying to kite back. Jumps over the wall. Barely survives, but you can't say the same for Yellowstar.
Yeah, I like it. Decisiveness here from Giants. Not saying, you know what, it's all over. Immediate engage. Hitting Fnatic in the setup. And you see the power of their composition when they're grouped though. It would be phenomenal if Giants can actually come back here. From 9,000 gold lead. I love it. They need more of this.
Yeah, going to be cutting off the flank route with these traps coming out. And Fevin's going to say, screw the traps, going to jump over the wall, going to try and find you. Gamsu split pushing into bot lane, however. Should be able to take down this tower. Fevin's still off to the side. This mid tower is not dying real fast.
Traps help though. Just at each side, makes it impossible for Fevin to enter the fight. Smitty J's base got cancelled, which means Gamsu can get this tower. He still has to be afraid. Trundle in a 1v1 scenario. Incredibly potent duelist.
Yeah, Knight was looking to go to the bot lane, but just going to clear out those wards. Got a lot of attack speed right now. Spirit coming out there. Going to find the trap. Doesn't find the frogs. Doesn't find Sunstar. Doesn't really find anything. Will contemplate its life and go back to the mid lane. Let's take a look at that sick engage actually coming from Knight.
Yeah, Reckless playing a little bit too far up. His team's not there. You're not even going to get the siege off. So yes, you get the pink ward, but you're not even going to siege up that tower. There's no way you're going to break the Azir Caitlyn wave clear there without a pick. So you kind of want to lure Giants out of their base. So a little bit disrespectful. I don't mind it as much because I want to see Reckless evolve into a player that is actively playing forward. And you only get there by practicing these type of deals. Yes, sometimes you may pay the price, but...
You learn the most from mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder where the Sentinel came from.
That's why you should learn from other people's mistakes instead.
Ah, I see.
Replay analysis, very important.
Well, here in play-by-play, we make those mistakes ourselves, so we're the guinea pigs. And while Reckless going to be pushing up the top wave, there is the third Cloud Drake of the game. So next one will definitely be something else.
Yeah.
Smitty J, he's still trying to solve the bottom lane crisis. A lot of minions flooding in here, trying to bail all the minions out. But Gamsu's still pushing up. What is it, Crepo?
It's a Mountain Drake.
Oh.
That's good.
It is.
Because especially these pick comps, they need to get Baron buffs to really open up the map. Because they're also stronger when split, usually. So having the ability to kind of push all lanes at once, and then have like little skirmishes, 2-on-1, 3-on-2, etc. Some mobility. Definitely want to push in those towers with the Baron buff. It's incredibly hard to push in a single lane versus Caitlyn. All these traps. Pesky traps into Cocoon, into Pillar, into Azir Shuffle. Almost impossible to deal with even with this large of a gold lead.
Pretty much any combination on Giants is going to lock you down forever if you get hit by one piece of CC. Yeah. But Fnatic pushing down the bottom lane here. Smitty J going to be zoning away, but did pop Subjugate, so he doesn't have that for the ensuing fight. Line up the shot. A bit of damage onto Fevin in the mid lane. Spirit will help clearing that one out, but going to be putting a band-aid on the bottom lane with the Azir turret and clearing out some of these minions. But Fnatic just looking for that crack in the armor, looking to find a pick, looking to try and take down one of these inhibitors.
Yeah, it's a good time for us to look at some item builds. So I just noticed this Mage Eyes on Gamsu. Sitting on what, 10 stacks?
10 stacks, yeah.
Gotta be careful. Those stacks.
Yeah.
But also mid laners with the Magic Man boots, something we see all the time here. You see the overload of CDR. That's pretty much everywhere. You can't buy items and not get CDR anymore, even if you're trying.
Yep.
Every mid laner shifted back to Magic Man boots.
Accidentally capped out. Hey, there you go. Got it before it completely reset. Small victories, of course. Fnatic will take everything they can in this game, almost cresting the 10,000 gold horizon. And Fnatic kind of backing off. There's no big objectives, neutral objectives on the board to take right now before Dragon spawns and Baron spawns.
Taking control of enemy jungle, taking away their camps, slowly increasing that gold lead. I'm sure they keep picking up farm on all 3 lanes. Very important when you run a composition like this that has a weaker kind of scaling, is that you make use of the access that you have to all these resources, whether it's their jungle, whether it's all these 3 lanes. So if you start grouping up needlessly, you're only playing to Giants' hands.
Fnatic, see how fast they're moving with that 45 extra out of combat movement speed. Spirit is looking to get in here.
Breezing.
He is. He's cruising on by. Look how fast they are. I think the best part of that buff is the particles you get, honestly. Fevin, they try and take away the blue buff, but it is resetting. Spirit coming into mid lane was looking for the old insect. Didn't quite find it on tonight as the minion wave was unfortunately there.
Yeah, Fnatic are keeping every wave pushed. Pink wards up in the river, denying any access to their own jungle from Giants for the next minute or so. And they're basically saying once Baron spawns, Giants will have to waste their 1 boost trinket, which they should likely change to more of them. And then face check or Baron.
Yeah, that would be a smart choice as Baron's only coming up for 50 seconds. And of course Fnatic are going to use that to pull Giants out of their nest. Top lane is being pushed in. Reckless and Yellow Star looking to push this one in. But don't want to go too far. Sunstar this time, he might be the bait at the end of the hug. But don't want to go for that kill right now. Everyone's kind of spaced out though from Giants. And again, another 27 seconds until this Baron spawns, and it really is just a stare down, get the vision, maybe even try and find a pick. That would also help.
Jeez. This has to be so annoying for Giants. If we could get like a fucking War Toggle, we could see just how bad it is, but I think we're going to see them die here.
Yeah, hustling, he walks in, he walks out, he's going to make it for now, but it's the bouncy castle that they have free admission into. Giants all getting chunked down, no one dead yet. Somehow they all survive, but Smitty definitely regretting that teleport, and now he'll go back to base.
So that is kind of best outcome for Giants, where you face check and you avoid death, but you still lose the Baron. That is the impossible situation that really good map play from Fnatic have put them in. Yeah, the jungle is dark and full of terrors, and Fnatic going to claim the Baron.
Very easy. Going to be spiked to the way there, and Smitty walks up, sniffs around the area. Going to be stopping Gamsu's recall. And that's all he can really get from that one, is the worst of consolation prizes. But now that Fnatic are significantly ahead, over 10,000 gold ahead, they have the Baron. And the Dragon is coming up in 1 minute as well. That will be the Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, and it's really important that Fnatic kill this Mountain Drake ASAP. Not because they need the 10% extra 2 damage from towers, yes, that's handy, but because they want the Elder Dragon to spawn as quick as they can. Should they make a mistake here, they want it to be in a phase of the game where they still have the utmost control. Spirit making that mistake.
This would not be good to open up the Dragon. He's going to be shut down by Smitty. Kind of keels over and dies as Subjugate will finish him off there. And that is basically syncing up with the Dragon timer, so not going to be there for the spawn of it.
Doesn't matter who gets that Dragon though, even if Giants gets it. It's more about speeding up the spawn of the Elder.
Cycle.
As long as Fnatic then get their hands on it. If they lose control of the game right here, the Elder could obviously shift everything for Giants. Giants looking kind of mid-lane third here.
Yellowstar kind of steps up, and Fevin comes in and obliterates Sunstar. Reckless will come into the fight, throws Yellowstar in, and Maxwell's also caught in enemy lines. He's going to go down. Someone needs to finish him off. It's going to be Reckless. Double kill coming out for him. 3 kills go down onto Giants. Gamsu's still in hot pursuit of Knight.
Yeah, we have to question the positioning of Sunstar there. You need to respect the LeBlanc. That's why you need a line of traps that you then play around if you're Caitlyn versus LeBlanc. Yes, it's hard. You may not be able to take the tower, but it is much better to leave the tower alive than to donate even more kills to Fnatic. Because when they all spawn, it's not like you're going to walk up and take a hit anyways.
Now Fnatic, tempo back in their favor as Spirit respawns. Just under 20 seconds on the clock on the lot of these respawns on Giants. So top tower's going to be sieged in, and this is dying very quickly. Inhib will definitely fall as well over to Fnatic before the respawns come up, and they can back off. Maybe he can swing to mid lane and take that tower.
Mid lane here. Around the Featherven. Zone on Knight here too. Parallel convergence forces him out. Tower falls. So at this point that Fnatic can choose to base and finish the game later, or they may feel a little over-eager and go for the fight right now.
Feeling lucky? Not today. Or maybe they are. Reckless is charging up face core. He's going to be throwing him towards Hustland. Smitty J's tanking up a lot of that backline, and now they're into the squishy backline of Giants as well. Sunstar, he only just respawned, man. He's going back to the fountain. Spirit will be exchanged, but that is it indeed, Grappo. Double kill out for Fevin. Fnatic find the sweep. 5 for 1. Ace over to Fnatic's lineup. They'll be closing in onto the Nexus towers, and after 35 minutes, 23 kills, 10 towers, they will be taking down the Nexus for the 1-0 in this best of 2 over Giants. In a minute.
Anytime now.
Collected faces coming in from Fnatic. But still, they have another game to go from here, but solid performance.
Solid
couple
performance.
hiccups, for sure.
Yeah, but that's going to happen when you run these super aggressive pick pumps, and that also happens when you get a large gold lead against a team that you, in your heads, also classify as weaker. You will disrespect a little bit more. It's very hard to avoid that if you're in Fnatic's shoes. Yeah, super aggro comp. Honestly, for me, the most impressive thing was just the first blood. I really liked it. The flash exhaust, it just makes so much sense. There is no way he can escape that at all once you get the exhaust and the passive off, because everybody can burn in flashes. If Giants could punish it somewhere by using all those cooldowns that you've expended, but then you enter in a lane swap scenario that you want anyways if you're Fnatic, and then suddenly those flashes, they're back up by the time you actually start playing the game again. So really, really good opening. Really good first few minutes from Fnatic.
Disrupted the flow as well from Giants because Maxlaw, he never really got rolling in that game. He went into the jungle, was like, well, now I'm already behind. I can't go to these lanes. Lane swap happens. He just does the thing as the jungler does in the lane swap and never really got into that game. Did find a couple good picks as Fevin was just kind of walking and not looking at the screen. But apart from that, wasn't able to get into this game.
Yeah, and I think for Giants, this is a good game to rewatch later and kind of watch it from a observer point of view, where you can actually see what happens in the fog of war. Because on the stage, it just feels, you just kind of feel choked. Like you have no vision, you have no choices, no options. But if you rewatch the game, like, these guys were actually overextending, and it's a really good learning experience. This lineup still needs some time.
Yeah, well, that was the first game going over to Fnatic, so we're going to send it over to the analyst desk to take a look at the game.
earlier. In any case, Fnatic versus Giants. Going to turn into that after kind of the beginning phases. Let's talk a bit about picks and bans. Obviously, that Brown first pick coming out, possibly to make Yellowstar feel comfortable, possibly picking it away from Giants themselves. What do you make of the draft?
I think Braum is one of the strongest supports in the meta right now. I wouldn't say you should first pick it, but I definitely think he's good. And Yellowstar is a player who maybe will struggle a little bit when it comes to overall champion pool, because I don't see him play a lot of Bard. I don't see him being like very aggressive supports, range supports that is. Mechanically, again, it's not his strong side. I think Braum makes a lot of sense for him. What I don't think makes a lot of sense is this Trundle, Caitlyn, Azir setup. Because, especially because Smitty built like full split push with Ravenous Hydra. So you have a split pusher and you have Kate Azir. None of them want to go to the other side lane. So you can't play 1-3-1. You play like this 4-1 setup, which makes it very, very hard for Giants to really do anything.
And the thing is, we were talking about where that may have some strengths when looking at how they were dealing with champions like LeBlanc, something, you crowd control them as they come in. So you can see the thought process there. You get the crowd control from a slightly unorthodox support like a Nautilus, then you put the trap down that gives Caitlyn that added damage in fights, but you're still waiting on reliable damage to come from Azir in the late game. Caitlyn's reliable damage comes later into the game as well. So for Giants, they put themselves in a very tough situation to try and dig themselves out of that hole.
I mean, they could have just swapped it. The great thing about Trundle is how flexible he can be. You can put him down into the support lane, and they lane swapped anyway. And when you pair it up with the Caitlyn, it's not that bad in 2v2 as is. But I mean, when you have that Nautilus, he can be that tanky frontline that Deficio loves to have in all teamfight compositions. So if you have the Azir and you have the Caitlyn, and you have a Nautilus sitting in front, you've then set yourself up for a perfect teamfight comp.
Yeah, my problem with their comp is just, it's like you have 2 out of 3 pieces. You don't have anything that really connects all of them. Because when you have Azir, Caitlyn together, they both want to sit mid lane, preferably. No one wants to go side lane. Whenever you send someone to the side lane, it's a very easy target for LeBlanc, for Kalista to gank as well, with the Braum flying in, even Echo with the extra mobility. So Fnatic just had so many ways of always punishing, like Sunstar, when he went to that side lane on a Caitlyn on his own. And he also played extremely poorly. Like, we have to call that out. Sunstar did not have a great game. Also, late game, he cost quite a lot. If you play Caitlyn here, you want to go late game, you need your AD carry to step up.
And that's one area that we wanted to highlight, was that kind of the synergy from the AD carry role for Fnatic with Yellowstar. It was hit and miss at times when we looked at some of the plays back and forth from them. First of all, they caught out Sunstar in the top lane that you were talking about with that pick on Caitlyn using Fate's Call. But it was hit and miss. Certainly, like, there were some engages and the bottom lane one didn't really hit the mark for them. But, I like to see them setting up to allow Reckless to carry from there. Yeah, this was one of the good plays. We kind of grabbed some that were the 50-50 plays as well.
Couldn't it be more symbolic? The return of Yellowstar, then Reckless picks Kalista and binds him to his character.
And then throws him in here, you die.
And then it's like, it's nice to have
you
you
left
back.
me.
Bye.
And it's like a symbolic philosophical tale, and then he pulls him back and saves. Okay, never mind.
Well, you
We're going
can't
too far with this. Yeah, we're going too far with this. And I guess obviously Fnatic getting the upper hand through these engages and fights, but then kind of losing the plot. We saw Febiven getting caught a couple of times, but we also have to give some credit to the side of Giants. And Verius, you were mentioning especially how...
What was that from Sunstar?
Well, Sunstar not, but that Knight surprised you in a very good way.
While a lot of Giants members throughout the game tended to just be caught out of position, Knight was really holding his own. He was quite impressive. During the laning phase, he actually had a CS advantage over Febiven. He had some really great plays on Azir. One in particular was when you have the Nautilus face check the bush, Fnatic have the perfect setup, it looks like they're going to get a clean ace, and then that one Azir ultimate, along with the peel, is everything enough to keep the entire Giants member alive. So he's looking promising. I like what Knight has to bring.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to the Giants lineup that they, they got a little bit caught Fnatic at some points, but that they did manage to come back in such a deficit game. I mean, wasn't it the spring that the Giants came back from like a deficit and beat Fnatic? Or
That was Rocket, but I think this game, yes, okay, sure, Fnatic made a few mistakes in the late game, and it seemed like Giants were getting back, but they were still really far behind. And you said it yourself, there were a little bit too many mistakes. I think Fnatic maybe got caught in the mess a little bit, and then suddenly it became one of these solo queue-ish games where a lot of people are kind of jumping around, hitting each other left and right, instead of it being coordinated. But there were some clean shot calling from time to time we saw when they knew how to push certain lanes, all 3 lanes at once. Some good things from there from Fnatic, and in the end they get the win.
Don't know, of course, what goes on in the shot calling. However, it could have something to do with the return of Yellowstar. He is also our player of the game for this one. Yellowstar, a lot. I mean, it's all conjecture what he is bringing to the team, but it seems to be getting off to a great start for Fnatic, and we'll see if they can pull that true.
Yeah, we'll see if with more games against maybe tougher opponents, they've got to face off against Giants again right now, but
Yeah.
I certainly think maybe against some of the other teams we'll see that shot calling tested.
I do think that Fnatic need to rein in a little bit. I mean, we did see the Mejai's coming out from Gamsu. Yes, he did get 24 stacks, which is very impressive, but you can't rely on that as a strategy. Lee Sin as well, going with the Black Cleaver, hyper-aggressive build. I mean, it worked. It definitely worked for them, but I feel like this isn't a strategy that they can rely on moving forward.
All right, we will see what happens, of course. In just a few minutes, we'll see if Fnatic can close out the series 2-0, or if the Giants can pick up their first win of the split. Stay right there. We'll be right back.